GM, good morning. Welcome to the Milk Road Show, the daily crypto show that's as reliable as someone who actually reads the instructions manual. I'm your host, Jay Hamilton, and today we are joined by Lark Davis, legendary crypto investor, Twitter master, YouTube master, and crypto educator to talk about Bitcoin all-time highs. Let's go. What is causing it? There's big news out of MicroStrategy joining the NASDAQ 100. We're going to talk about that. Argentina and Thailand are getting in on the race to own Bitcoins. The sovereign cycle is on, and governments are getting into the party in a big way. We're going to talk about altcoin season update, AI agents, and more. Before we jump in, it's the Milk Road Awards right now, which means you can vote on which blockchain, which token, which meme coin, which crypto villain was the winner of the past year. Head over to the link in the show notes or hit the QR code on your screen to vote today. And if you vote, you get 1 month free of Milk Road Pro. So benefit to everybody who votes. Before we hear from Lark, we're just going to take a moment to hear from our sponsors who make this show possible. Meanwhile is the world's first licensed and regulated life insurance company built for the Bitcoin economy. They do everything in BTC. You pay in BTC, they pay claims to your family in BTC. You take out policy loans entirely in BTC when you need liquidity. Protect your family from life's uncertainty and a broken financial system. Build intergenerational Bitcoin wealth while the cost of living skyrockets in dollar terms. Plus, get all the tax and legal benefits of life insurance now in Bitcoin. Visit milkroad.com/meanwhile to join the waitlist and get early access to the world's first Bitcoin life insurance. Whether you're bullish or bearish on MicroStrategy, T-Rex ETFs are your gateway to dynamic market plays. Get exclusive access to leveraged exposures with the first 2x short or 2x long ETFs designed specifically for MicroStrategy stock. Position yourself with precision. With T-Rex, you gain access to powerful tools for sophisticated investors. Lark, welcome back to the Milk Road Show.
Thanks for having me back, man. What a day.
What a day. What a day. We're recording this on Monday. You guys are listening to this on Tuesday. I hope the same all-time high vibes are happening when you guys hear this. But damn, Lark, let me just pull up this chart right here. Look at Bitcoin right now. Oh, we just dipped below 107 as we're recording this, but Bitcoin is flying. How you feeling?
It's awesome. It's great to see. It's been just a slow grind higher, hasn't it? I mean, we had our flash crash, was it 2 weeks ago? Massive leverage unwind, right? After that huge leverage unwind, we would slowly turn the volume back up, haven't we? Leverage is coming back in. People are chasing it once again. And the price is slowly grinding higher. We've seen gargantuan spot buying coming in here as well, which is really just slowly grinding that price up. And this is just a beautiful chart right now, just up and to the right, but slowly. We're not going parabolic right now, which is fine. Let it grind. Let it go nice and slow like this. I mean, slow. It's only been 5 weeks since Trump has been elected, and it's already up $40,000 or something like that in the last 5 weeks. But, you know, slow.
Yeah, and it's the ETF is just continuing to gobble over 2 billion last week, which is just awesome to see. But the big news today, this morning came out, is that MicroStrategy has been added to the NASDAQ 100. Lark, what's the impact of this?
You know, they use the term infinite money glitch sometimes, but I almost feel like this is really that. You see, with the inclusion of MicroStrategy into the NASDAQ 100 index, essentially what you're going to see is all the funds that sell that to people, right? All the people who hold it, well, they've got to now rebalance and buy a bunch of MicroStrategy. That means the market cap of MicroStrategy will go up. As the market cap of MicroStrategy go up, guess what Giga Chad Saylor does? He buys more Bitcoin. He bought another 1.5 billion yesterday or the day before. He announced his buys. This probably happened Friday last week or something like that. So essentially, he gets to then leverage MicroStrategy more, sell more shares, issue new shares, all that kind of stuff, and keep just rolling it in. Keep getting more Bitcoin. I think they're up to 440,000 Bitcoin or something like that right now. And as he gets to keep buying more Bitcoin because the price keeps going up, guess what? The price keeps going up because he keeps buying more Bitcoin. And then NASDAQ has to buy more. The ETFs, it's crazy. The implications are absolutely nuts. The amount of just leverage gearing up MicroStrategy right now is absolutely insane. It's been just one for the record books watching this stock go. And what a crazy move. I mean, Michael Saylor definitely understands the game to a very nuanced level and is playing it like a master right now. When the bear market comes, it's going to hit hard, but that's for later us to worry about. Up until that point, this thing is going to keep cooking.
Yeah, it's incredible to think about the impact of a company like MicroStrategy that is essentially built upon this Bitcoin treasury business model, and then also the way they're using convertible bonds and whatnot. But I just imagine how many, we've seen a few corporations putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet, but we haven't really seen an explosion of that. And I think that is going to be something that we really see in the next year. Now, everybody's talking about, Microsoft voted not to buy Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Amazon has a vote coming up at some point. I actually know what the date of it is. I don't necessarily expect those, Fortune 100 or the Magnificent Seven to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet, but you can bet that there's going to be a lot of MicroStrategy copycats coming, especially when news like this happens.
Well, there already are a lot of those MicroStrategy copycat companies out there, right? You have MetaPlanet in Japan, which is sort of doing the same playbook right now. You have Semler Scientific, which is running a similar playbook. You have Marathon Holdings, used to be Marathon Digital. They're a Bitcoin mining company. Of course, they mine Bitcoin, but they've also been issuing out billions in convertible notes and stuff like that in order to buy more Bitcoin. So we're already seeing different companies playing this out. And Tesla's in the Magnificent Seven, right? So it already holds Bitcoin. So one of the seven does,
True.
right? And they've held it since 21. And here's the deal. One of the other companies is going to come in at some point. And Microsoft being late to the game, I mean, Keller me surprised, right? Microsoft's a super conservative company in a lot of ways, and they missed every big thing that happened in tech, which is quite surprising. Microsoft is one of those companies that keeps falling up. For better or worse, they just keep falling up, right? They missed mobile phones. They missed social media. They missed all the big stuff that happened in tech in the last 20 years, and they're still one of the biggest companies in the world. So it's not because of their genius level thinking and forward innovative stuff. It's just that they keep just being there and being the dominant market player because everybody doesn't want to buy Apple because it's too expensive, I guess. Anyway, it is what it is. But there are other companies that do have a good chance of making that move. Now, we've seen, for example, Facebook. Facebook, if in case everybody doesn't remember, back in 2020, I think they launched the Diem project. Facebook was super into crypto, man. In fact, they're so into crypto that the government had to shut it down. They had to shut their crypto stuff down because they were too worried about the implications of it. Of course, this was, just what a dumb move. Imagine if Facebook had been running the rails for crypto dollars. US dollar dominance secured forever. Oh no, let's shut it down. Of course, we had got Aptos come out of that. We had Sui come out of that, stuff like this. So, hey, some sweet benefits still, but a company like Facebook, Meta, we call it Meta, a company like Meta actually adding Bitcoin to the balance sheet wouldn't be a stretch in my mind. It feels like a much more sensible fit compared to Microsoft. Amazon, I don't know, bit of a crapshoot. Apple, Tim Cook owns crypto. Come on, Tim, what are you doing, man? Go buy some damn crypto for your company. It doesn't have to, just $1 billion, dude. $1 billion to signal the water's okay. Everyone can jump on in. $1 billion to Apple's nothing. They have like 100 billion cash sitting there. Throw $1 billion in Bitcoin, Tim. Come on, do it for the cause, man.
Let's go, Tim. Let's go. The milkman wants to see it. Okay, let's go from companies and corporations buying, which is obviously awesome and great to see. Let's go to countries and what countries are doing, because this is almost even more exciting. And first up, let's talk about the news out of Argentina. So Argentina President Javier Milei announced that they plan to allow Bitcoin payments in 2025.
Jay, I'm having a really hard time recently dealing with reality because everything that we've talked about happening for the last 8 years I've been in crypto is now currently happening. And if you guys have not been in crypto for a while, I need you to understand that one story, and it's just a footnote in the news this week, that one story is so big and so impactful. Had this happened in 2017, it would have been the only thing people are talking about. People would have lost their freaking minds, man. Now it's just like, oh yeah, Argentina's doing that. Cool, okay, cool, whatever. Blah, blah. Holy crap, guys. Argentina's talking about legalizing crypto for payments. Now, Brazil already did that, by the way. Brazil did that last year or 2 years ago. Brazil's been way ahead of the pack in South America. They've been super pro Bitcoin there. Now, even, of course, Brazil is talking about adding a strategic reserve asset to the central bank. So they're right at the forefront of it. As always, second country in the world, I think, to issue Bitcoin ETFs after Canada. So, shout out to Brazil. They've been at the forefront. But there's even been some sort of rumblings that we could see Argentina potentially go the legal tender route at some point, like El Salvador. They've been talking to El Salvador. Whether they actually pull that off or not, I don't know. But it is rumbling in the background. So it wouldn't be surprising. I remember Paraguay is a major Bitcoin mining hotspot as well. So a lot of stuff happening there in the region. But of course, Argentina is just a part of the picture. We have a lot of other countries that have been talking about crypto in the last week too. Now, you have to keep in mind that everything that's happened so far around since the Trump election, around strategic Bitcoin reserves, stuff like this, very few places have so far introduced any kind of bills. Brazil actually introduced a bill. That's a real concrete step. Whether it passes or not, different discussion, but they actually took a real concrete step towards it. Japan, we had discussion around a strategic reserve. Japan's a great candidate. They've been one of the earliest adopters of cryptocurrency technology, and Japanese are crazy about crypto. However, the only guy talking about it so far has been just one politician. I don't think he's introduced a bill or anything like that yet. Maybe he's working on a bill, but that's kind of the stage it's at right now. Still huge, right? Poland, I think one of the presidential candidates was talking about that. I don't know how likely it is he gets elected. Was it Suriname? The lady in Suriname? She's running for president, or was it Guyana? One of those places. Anyway, she's running for president, and she wants to do the Bitcoin legal tender thing, Bitcoin reserves thing. So whether or not I have no idea, right, what her actual chances of getting elected are, but she's running. So these conversations are happening. Thailand, though, is probably the biggest one, because the previous prime minister, Thaksin Shinawatra, I guess he's been listening to Michael Saylor podcast or something, man, because he got orange pilled and he's going nuts. And so his son is currently the prime minister, and so he's been pushing his son, like, dude, you got to get down this Bitcoin thing. I know what it is. Dad bought $1 billion of the Bitcoin. He's like, come on, man, push the Bitcoin thing. It's gonna go, my bag's go up. You watch. Anyway, so here's the deal. There's been a lot of conversation in the past couple of days in Thailand about what they could do. Now, are we going to see Bitcoin legal tender in Thailand? There's been some rumblings about that. Are we going to see a Thai digital currency, some kind of CBDC, but backed by Bitcoin? Maybe. Or could we actually see some kind of legal tender or a reserve status? So, I mean, any of these things are absolutely massive. If Thailand was to go full on hardcore like Bitcoin and actually go, we're going to throw it in as legal tender and we're going to get a strategic reserve asset of it, I don't think people realize how incredibly impactful that is. For a lot of people, they probably just think, oh, Thailand, I'll go there and hang out on the beaches and, Sawadee Cop, good times, right? But Thailand's like 30th biggest economy or something, the world 25th biggest economy. It's big. It's an absolute powerhouse in Southeast Asia and in East Asia more broadly. If it makes those kind of moves, extremely impactful, especially as a leader for the ASEAN countries, which is the group of Southeast Asian countries, but globally as well. Just absolute massive stuff here, guys. So the amount of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin specific adoption happening right now is just unreal.
Yeah, it's people don't fully grasp or realize how impactful all these little things are. Because as you said, previously these things would have been massive news. Now they're coming out. It feels like every week there's a new country getting involved, talking about it. Obviously, as you said, there's a big difference between talk and bills and legislation. And there's a big gap of what all the steps that need to happen in order for a strategic reserve to happen in these countries. It's not as simple as somebody saying, yeah, we now have a strategic reserve. Like that has to go through legislation and the central banks need to be involved and blah, blah, blah. But it is just the race is on. The race is on. I don't know how knowledgeable the former Thai president is on Bitcoin price action, but if you want to feel some bullish vibes. He predicted 850K Bitcoin was his prediction. So I don't know if I should say that out loud, because that's maybe a little bit, I don't know what his time frame on that prediction actually was. I hope it wasn't in the next year, but bull vibes all around. Everybody's feeling good. I want to go to where are we right now? So I got a tweet up here from CryptoCon. He says, when somebody says there's a Bitcoin cycle top coming in the next few months, I can't help but smile and shake my head. At this rate, about 90% of our space will have packed their bags after Q1 2025. Meanwhile, data says we're on track for a normal cycle timing with a top in late 2025, which is a year of great price action to continue. And let me just pull this chart up on the screen. Lark, what do you think when you look at the cycle, where we are now, what we can expect in 2025?
You know, it's very interesting to consider, because I feel like there's so much intense PTSD. Everybody who survived 22 is like seriously effed up in the head right now. And everybody's just like desperate to sell as soon as the coins get back to highs, and desperate to get out. And everyone's still paranoid about a recession coming, World War III, and all this kind of stuff. And I think that March, April could be the top, right? It also could just be the first major peak. Sell in May and go away usually becomes true, because volumes drop and stuff in the summer. Everybody goes on vacation. Everybody hits up the Amalfi Coast and the Hamptons or whatever, and they're not trading their crypto coins, right? So volumes fall off quite a bit during the summer period. So I could see a March, April top being a realistic scenario, followed by the summer doldrums and some kind of final rally into the end of the year, much like we saw in 2021 and in 2017. 2017 wasn't as baby pronounced in the summertime, but it was pretty low volume, and there was a lot of price downward action, all that kind of stuff. Now, what are some possible reasons why we could actually see the market rally into the end of next year with maybe a summer doldrum period? Well, we have the global M2 money supply, which a lot of analysts are predicting is going to be increasing until the end of next year, or around it to Q3 next year. Of course, opinions vary from Q3 into about Q1 2026. M2 supply going up usually means the price of risk on assets go up. Bitcoin and stuff like that, of course, benefit from that sort of situation, as do your dog coins. There's a lot of other factors too. I saw a great chart earlier today. It was the credit cycles, and so private credit.
That chart. Let me pull that up for
you.
The
private credit. Oh, the private. Yes,
yeah.
This one. Yes, a fantastic chart. The private credit chart. So we're right now in a similar situation as what we saw in about 2010. Now, from 2010 up until, of course, 2020, I guess around peak in that before the big pandemic crash, we had a wild market rally. Now, there was some huge volatility, some giant crashes and corrections and stuff throughout the middle of that, as there always is. But this is essentially the starting of a potentially new major cycle. Now, of course, that's just one chart, one indicator, but we have central banks easing globally. Fed probably going to be cutting. So this week they're meeting, so they're probably going to cut this week. ECB just cut by another 25 basis points, so money's getting cheaper globally. M2 supply is expanding, and a lot of these sort of economic charts like this are bottomed out. Now, you still have other stuff like, okay, the 3-month treasury is now crossed back above the 10-year and stuff like that. So people are still worried about the yield curve and stuff like that. But I don't know. There's so many other things going on that are countering that right now that we could, again, March, April, interesting. End of the year, I could see it. One final note here. Back in 2021, the Pi cycle top indicator crossed in April. Now, had you sold on that day all your Bitcoin, if you want to sell your Bitcoin, of course, had you sold all your Bitcoin and then 2 weeks later sold all your altcoins, you would have made so much money, it would have been ridiculous. Now, prices did go higher in October and November, and you could have rebought in the summer had you wanted to, or you could have just walked away from crypto until the FTX crash. And you sold your ETH 2 weeks after the Pi cycle top indicator comes in. Yeah, you only sold it for $4,200, not $4,800. But it doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah, I mean, it shows don't try to time the top, right? We all have a massive opportunity ahead of us in the next year. Don't get too greedy. Don't try to time the top. Be okay with knowing that you're never going to time the top, and you're going to miss out probably on You don't need to be the perfect genius investor, right? You just need to take profits that make sense for you. Okay, for everybody sitting there and saying, Bitcoin keeps pumping, what about my altcoins? What do you say?
Look, there are times when Bitcoin just sucks all the air out of the room like a raging inferno, right? And it makes it hard for everyone else to breathe. But altcoins will come raging back as soon as Bitcoin calms down a little bit. It's amazing. People will just dump their altcoins like crazy. I'm going to dump my altcoin for a 20% loss, chase a 5% Bitcoin move. Let's go. Don't try to provide rationality to it. You can't. Look, the reality is, it's so funny. I see the comments in my comment section and stuff. And people are like, Lark, you said that an altcoin season's coming, but everything's down like 5% today. This is a giant scam. You got to have like a slightly longer time preference than like 2 or 3 hours, okay, guys, or a day or two. Like, you have to look at the big picture of what's going on here and what we're moving into. And the altcoins, my goodness gracious, look at how much movement has happened on altcoins since early November. I mean, my gosh, yeah, some of them are correcting. Solana's correcting, XRP's correcting, but XRP always has a big correction after it hits 80 plus and the RSI on the weekly. It always corrects. And it'll correct and it'll consolidate and people will distribute and other people will reaccumulate and then it'll mark up for its next period because that's what happens in the market. The altcoin markets are far from finished, okay? And they will catch up with a vengeance. And this is the thing. Bitcoin from here to what I've thought could be a rational cycle top area of $200,000 to $250,000. That's only 100% move for Bitcoin approximately from here. A little bit less, a little bit more, whatever. If Bitcoin goes to $250,000, do you have any idea how crazy it's going to be for your altcoins? Your altcoins are going to perform probably on average, let's say your big cap stuff 3 to 5x versus Bitcoin, and your mid and low cap stuff 10 to 20x on average versus Bitcoin. It's going to get way stupider than people realize. If you haven't been here for absolute mental craziness season for crypto, well, strap your pants on, okay? Get your big boy pants on, put the belt on, buckle it up real good, because it's going to get crazy around here, guys.
What asset class are we in? We're going to sit here like decades from now and we're going to be totally blown away that we're talking about 3 to 5x, 10 to 20x as if it's a normal thing in a year for an investor to literally
How'd Grandpa make
that.
all his money on Fartcoin?
I love that you brought up AI agents because I do want to touch on that in a few minutes. But first, what do you expect for? Just take us through the rest of. We don't. I think we got a 2025 prediction show with you coming up in a few weeks, so we'll get your 2025 prediction. But that's more long term. What do you expect for the rest of December and the few weeks of Jan until we get you back on the show again?
Sure, I think markets are going to continue to generally be risk on. I mean, what we've seen in previous years, especially when we have the right broader economic conditions, which we do right now, is that December tends to be a pretty damn good month. January also can be a pretty decent month as well. There'll be a little bit of repositioning around the end of the year as people move stuff around for taxes and stuff like that. But overall, I'm looking at Bitcoin probably to continue to rally between here and at least the Trump inauguration. Maybe we have a little bit of headwind after that, but altcoins continuing their just usual dance of grinding, but also taking big hits. So we got so many altcoins that are either major consolidation periods or getting ready for major breakouts or in the process of major breakouts like Avalanche and Ethereum and stuff like that. So I think we're going to see some big moves right across the altcoins. Remember, by the way, guys, Ethereum tends to lag about 6 weeks behind Bitcoin, and it's been about 6 weeks now since that big Bitcoin breakout initially, and Wall Street started buying Ethereum. And when Ethereum goes from $4,000 to $7,000-8,000, the rest of the altcoin space is going to rage right along behind it.
Yeah, completely. Do you think there's going to be a pullback? Some people are circling Trump inauguration in their calendar, Jan 20th. Do you think we'll see a pullback I don't think we'll see a pullback in December, but in January, you think we'll see a pullback?
It could absolutely happen. I mean, it's hard to say definitively this is going to cause a pullback or not. I mean, the inauguration, you might see a buy the rumor, sell the news to some extent. If people are thinking that, day one's going to see an absolute raft of crypto legislation come through, and it might see some. There might be a bunch of bills on the desk or, presidential orders on the desk for day one. We shall see. And if those hit, then yeah, that's very impactful and very exciting, but it doesn't mean that things happen the next day and that America is immediately going to buy, a million Bitcoin today. It just doesn't quite work like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. There might be an unreasonable expectation for that.
Oh, we live in the market of unreasonable expectations.
Like the market might expect like, oh, Trump's gonna be inaugurated, and then day one, all these things are gonna happen, and nothing's gonna happen, and it'll end up being like a seldom news event, right? Is kind of where I'm leaning, but we'll see. Let's talk about AI agents. I don't think we've talked much about AI agents with you yet. We've talked a bunch on the show recently with others. I mean, we'd be living under a rock if we weren't talking about it. Just curious, what are your thoughts on AI agents, and how are you allocating your portfolio?
Yeah, AI agents probably one of the most interesting and exciting and novel ideas to come out of crypto recently. I mean, it's certainly way cooler, way more exciting than EigenLayer. We're restaking our Ethereum, guys. It's going to provide security and data availability. Got my nerd glasses on. Look, AI agents are fun. It's fun. This is a thing. AI agents are fun. I like the frameworks personally. I think AI agents are going to be absolutely massive. I saw a post today, something like all the AI agents combined are about $4 billion in market cap, whereas the meme coins are about $140 billion in market cap right now. So you got to keep that in mind. Just Dog with Hat, for example, is probably around the same market cap that all the AI agents are combined. And we have much more interesting novel use cases coming out of this. And a lot of it's fluff, a lot of it's bullshit, a lot of it's chasing the hype. I mean, the amount of pitches I've had for like, hey, we're launching an AI agent. Hey, did you know we've always been at AI agents? Come on, you weren't at AI agents last week. Get out of here. I know. I've been following you guys. This is the first time you mentioned a damn AI agent. Anyway, that being said, there's going to be a lot of people chasing the hype and all that sort of stuff, but I'm really into the idea. And I think so far, I've only allocated myself to a few different things. I've bought AI16Z, which is the ELIZA framework on Solana. That's getting huge adoption right now, so I think that's very interesting. And I've just started today adding a position for Cerebro. So they've launched the ZeroPi, so basically an AI agent framework for Python developers. Apparently like 70% of machine learning happens in Python. So it's like, oh, that's interesting. And of course, Cerebro's been doing, look, it's silly and it's dumb. And there's things I don't like about Cerebro, like, making tweets about putting his finger in his butt and stuff like this. Like that's ridiculous and silly. But then they's dropping like AI generated music and AI generated art and all this kind of really cool stuff as well. So there's this really silly element to it. I mean, is this how AI really thinks of us? I guess that's learning from the internet. So I guess what should I expect, to be honest? But anyway, it's still pretty cool. I think the thing that made me pull the trigger on Cerebro was its shift towards that sort of framework that they're building out now. So I think that becomes a much more interesting and impactful reason to look at that asset. So that's the two assets I've got right now. There's a few others that I'm looking at and stuff like this, but I'm not sure so much I'm going to be betting on individual agents necessarily. I might get one or two just because they're fun and I kind of like the vibes and stuff like that. But I think the frameworks could end up being really interesting plays. And yeah, I know they're not the super tiny micro cap plays anymore. They're worth hundreds of millions of dollars. But if I can get a 10x out of them, I'm pretty happy to ride that wave.
Yeah, I really like the investment in the picks and shovels strategy here versus the individual tokens. I think is the safer play, unless you want to be following this more like a trader and on it on a regular basis, or unless you have the stomach for the massive swings that some of these AI agents have had. Guys, if you want to learn more about AI agents, go back and listen to our episode yesterday with Sammy, who is the AI agent research analyst. This guy is incredible. He writes content every single day. He posts multiple threads all about AI agents. He is so deep in this space. Lark, is interesting. The one thing he said that was a great point was he said nobody knows what the market cap of AI agents is. So I said 10 billion on the show because that's what Cookie.fun is saying. And then he pointed out to me that and you saw a tweet that said 4 billion. And he said that on his research, he thinks it's actually more probably like 15 to 20 billion, but there's no one source that is providing an accurate number yet. My main takeaway on AI agents is two things. One, I think it's way more fun than meme coins. So I think it's going to pop like meme coins pops and have that culture effect. But then as well, it also is the AI narrative, which nobody can invest in AI. It's not easy to invest in AI. Sure, you can go buy NVIDIA, but like that's not sexy and exciting for most
$3
crypto
trillion
people.
market cap. Nah.
No, that's not going to get me any. That's not going to get you that won't even get you a two. I don't know. We'll see what NVIDIA does. But I think that what is going to come in the next year, people don't realize how quickly this is going to happen. And when you bring up AI 16Z, which is a great one, I really like that one too, is that guy, the creator of the ELIZA framework, he's been building that for, I think, a year and a half, 2 years, right? So there is, there are a lot of, and that's why you have to be careful to invest in tokens. There's a lot of projects popping up saying, oh, we've been doing AI agents for years, and this is what, most of those are going to catch the narrative and try to pump on that. But there are some projects out there that have been doing this for a long time. And now that they have crypto, they can raise capital super fast and build teams. And I just think we're going to have, I don't think anybody realizes how much this is going to explode in 2025. I think it could be far beyond what anybody expects.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree. It's the newest iteration of the great ideas coming in crypto. NFTs got this sort of community and all that kind of stuff built, right? But they failed because there wasn't much going on there. Meme coins came and built on top of that, right? So now it was community plus high liquidity, right? And ease of launch. Now we have meme coins that can talk back to you. And that's going to be massive. It's going to be massive. And it's probably going to be one of the biggest trends of 2025. So if you're not paying attention to the space, I know a lot of people wrote off meme coins. They get pissed off. I see comments from people just straight up pissed off and angry and yelling at me because I dare to talk about meme coins. It's like, dude, it's been the best performing sector of crypto the last year. I'm sorry about your technical altcoin bags not moving, but this is what people want. Meme coins and AI coming together through AI agents, match made in heaven. Literally the two most popular sectors by mind share in crypto by far. Don't fade it. Pay attention, learn about it, and learn as fast as you can because it's going to be massive.
Let's go. Awesome. Lark, thanks so much for joining us today. Everybody listening in, throw a comment in the chat and let us know which tokens you're hyped on right now. Also, as I mentioned at the beginning, it's the Milk Road Awards. Go ahead and vote on the Milk Road Awards, and you could get 1 month free of Milk Road Pro. Lark, thanks so much for joining us. Everybody, thanks for listening in. Have a wicked awesome day. As always, if you liked today's episode, please hit subscribe and make sure you follow us so you don't miss out on the next one. There's also a link in the description to our free 5-minute daily newsletter where we simplify crypto for you while making you laugh. And if you're willing to step up your crypto investing game, we're going to also leave a link for Milk Road Pro. You get access to our portfolio where you can see exactly what we are buying. This is your #1 resource to help you invest successfully in crypto. One final note, this show is for educational purposes only, and nothing we say is financial advice. Investing in crypto or any asset is risky, and you should never invest more than you can afford to lose. Thanks so much for listening in, my friends. Have a wicked awesome day.